In this video, we're basically going to do a review of all of Unit 4 and kind of remember what an integral is. Alright, so in the beginning, we're interested in finding the area under a curve. And this kind of gives us the kind of very first example we did. We have a function that represents the velocity at a certain time. And it turns out if you found the area under that curve, you got some information about your position. Alright, so it's useful to go backwards because if I have velocity, I can figure out my change in position. We also learned this notation. This elongated S represents the area under the curve from starting at A and ending at B. All right, so here's, again, it's a review, so you should be able to do all these on your own already. I mean, I'll show you the answer in a second. All right, find this, the value of this expression for this function. All right, I'll show you the answer in 3, 2, 1. And the answer you should get is 23. One mistake people might make is looking at the entire area under the entire curve, but we only care about -2 to 5. Right, so that's the area we're focused on. And we're just finding that area. I broke it up into a rectangle, a square, and a triangle. You can break up the areas kind of however you want, but just geometrically, you can find this exact area. After we learned that we want to do area, we learned we couldn't do it right away if we had some weird shape, like how you find the area of that shape, I don't know, but we can approximate it using a Riemann sum. And the basic idea is you just use a bunch of rectangles, and those rectangles will get you pretty close to the actual area, but the area of a rectangle is very simple. So here's one for you to try on your own. I'd approximate this area using 4 subintervals and a right-hand sum. All right, so go ahead and try that one. I'll show you the answer in 3, 2, 1. The answer I got at the very end, I didn't actually write, is 200. All right, so let's quickly go through how to do this again. I'm trying to do 0 to 8, so the total distance I'm trying to cover is 8 units. And I'm breaking it up into 4 subintervals. So I break it up, divide it into 4 equal parts. Each little interval is going to have a width 2. So I start at 0, and I go to 2 to 2, 2 more to 4, 2 more to 6, 2 more to 8. So all of my rectangles are going to have a width of 2. All right, so that's where these 2's are coming from. That's the width of my rectangle. And then the height is when I plug in the right-hand side of my interval because it's a right-hand sub. So the first one I'm going to plug in 2 into my function. Next one I'm going to plug in 4 into my function, 6, and 8. And then what am I plugging these things into? The actual expression I have up here. So when I plug in 2, I put a 2 in for the x's, 2 squared minus 2, 4 squared minus 4, 6 squared minus 6. And then just some simplifying, adding up everything. All right, these are my individual areas. So when I add up these 4 areas together, I get my approximation. All right, so this is a quick review of kind of what you're doing when you're finding a Riemann sum. All right, we'll let the number of rectangles of our approximated go into infinity. The limit gives us the actual area. So an infinite number of rectangles is the exact area. All right, the next thing we learned was the accumulation of change formula. All right, this formula is really important if I want to go from f of a to f of b. So I can have a starting point of my function to an ending point of my function. I can add the area under the curve of the derivative. All right, never forget there's a derivative in that expression. All right, we learned the fundamental theorem of calculus that if we want to find the exact area, we undo the derivative process and plug in the bounds. But that's not generally the way we see it. We see that we undo the derivative process by getting an antiderivative. All right, so we undo the derivative process, get an antiderivative, and then we plug in the bounds. So here's one for you to try on your own. All right, find this area. All right, I'll show you the answer in 3, 2, 1. All right, the answer you should get at the end is 10. All right, so the way we do this, we do the reverse power rule. We add 1 to the exponent first, so 2 plus 1 is 3, and we divide by the new exponent. All right, this is 4 to the first, so 1 plus 2 is 2, divided by 2. This is x to the 0, so we get x to the first divided by 1. And then we want to evaluate this, so this little bar here means now we're going to plug in some values. Before I plug in some values, I want to simplify my expression to make plugging in as simple as possible, so I just simplify all these fractions. And then remember, I plug in the top bound first. I actually did that in blue, so let's circle it in blue. Plug in the top bound first, then plug in the bottom bound. I think it's a good idea to kind of simplify this whole thing to a single number and this whole thing to a single number, and then subtract them to get your final answer. And the last thing, that major thing we learned in Unit 4 was how to do substitution, or to do more complex antiderivatives. right, so see if you remember how to do the substitution process for this antiderivative. I'll show you the answer in 3, 2, 1. And here's the process. The first thing is you look in the parentheses and see something that's kind of complicated. In this case, this is our u. All right, so we make that our u. We take the derivative of this equation, and then we solve for dx. All right, that's always the same process. Pick a u, take derivatives. Then we plug this things in. So now this is going to be our u, and dx gets replaced with the thing it's equal to. In this case, we get a little bit lucky that everything else cancels out, and the only thing left with is u. We do our reverse power rule. U to the first becomes u squared over 2. And then we remember u is actually up here. So we replace u with x cubed minus 2x squared plus 4 for our final answer. All right, so here are the important parts. All right, the integral is the area under the curve. Don't ever forget that. Just like the derivative is the slope of the tangent line. 2 very important things to remember. You can approximate areas using a Riemann sum. And to algebraically find the exact area, use the fundamental theorem of calculus. You take the antiderivative, and then you plug in the bounds. All right, so this is a review of pretty much all of Unit 4 in just a single 6.5-minute video.